All right, guys, we're looking over problems 14 and 16 first, and then we will start the lesson. So this is from 5.4. So this is what we're given, and we want to find the values of x and y. Yep, 5.4 was Friday. So, huh? 5.4.
Oh, wait, I was at the no?
Pep rally was Thursday.
Yeah, that was I don't know. I don't have that.
So this is what we're given here. Now we know that these two angles are going to be the same because it's an isosceles triangle. We have two sides that are congruent. Now these two angles here are going to add up to be 180 because it makes a straight line. So this angle is 140. So what we're saying is that x plus 140 is 180. X plus x is 2x plus 140 is 180. We can subtract 140 from both sides, telling us that 2x is equal to 40. Divide by 2, telling us x is 20. So it tells us this is 20. But the whole angle is 90 because of the right angle. So if this angle is 20, it means this angle here is 70. Well, now we have a triangle where one of the angles is 70, 40, and y. So we can say y plus 40 plus 70 is 180. 40 plus 70 is 110. Minus 110 from both sides, telling us y is 70. Yes. Any questions on this here? Now 16. We have two triangles. We're given this here, and this is 5y minus 4. And we have this here, and this is y plus 12. And this side length here is 3x minus 5, guys. Now, because all three angles are congruent here, it means all three sides are congruent. Now, because these two angles here are congruent, it means those two sides are congruent. So both of these, well, this is the only one in terms of x. Now, these two here are both in terms of y. And since they're congruent, we can set them equal to each other and solve for the value of y. First thing we can do is subtract y from both sides, telling us 12 is equal to 4y minus 4. Add 4 to both sides, telling us 4y is equal to 16. Divide both sides by 4, telling us y is equal to 4. Now we can plug it back in here, which is 4 plus 12, which is 16. And the reason that's helpful is because one of the other sides that it's equal to is 3x minus 5 is going to equal 16. And at this point here, we can solve by adding 5 to both sides, telling us 3x. 3x is equal to 21. Divide by 3, so x is equal to 7. You're welcome. All right, so we're going to go on and get started on the assignment for or the lesson for today. And what we're talking about today, tomorrow, Wednesday, really the rest of the week, are these congruency theorem shortcuts. Because up to this point, to prove that two triangles are congruent, we needed to show that all the sides are congruent and all the angles. Well, really, all the sides and two angles, because the third angles theorem tells us that the third angles are going to be congruent. But with these shortcuts, we need less information to say that two triangles are going to be congruent. Here's your note sheet. So the first one that we had, the first congruency shortcut is side, angle, side. If we have two sides and an inscribed angle are congruent to two sides and an inscribed angle of another triangle, then the two triangles are congruent. And this is our first shortcut that we have, side, angle, side, and they do need to match up. So if we wrote a proof of this here, we worked this out. So they gave us a triangle, two triangles here. Now the given information, because we always start with that. Well, bigger eraser. Given and given. So you can follow along with this here. You don't have to. So we're going to go through and prove. So side. Because for us to prove that these two triangles are congruent, we're going to prove it by side, angle, side. So we need two sides and an angle in the middle. So they told us one set of sides are congruent. Now we can say that these two angles are congruent by alternate interior angles theorem. Because of the two parallel lines, it would mean that these two angles are congruent. So we have a side, an angle. Well, we'll need a third side. AC and a CA, well, reflexive property, or we can just say they're the same line, AC and AC. Because we have side, angle, side, we can say that the two triangles are congruent. Now, you don't have to write that down. We're just kind of walking through this here. Because when we do the proof, well, not proofs, when we show the two triangles are congruent, we don't need this much. We just need our side, our angle, and our side to be able to say the two triangles are congruent. Now, before we get into the overall proofs, we need to talk about an inscribed angle. Again, I think I said at least twice. You didn't have to write that down. So, you don't have to. You want, yeah. So the first thing we want to write is name the indicated inscribed angle. So an inscribed angle is going to be between the two sides. Now for us here, our two sides that we have, one of them is AB, the other is BD. So the angle between it would be this angle here. And what would that angle be? ABD, or angle DBA. We cannot name an angle B because there's more than one angle there. So it's one of these two here. Bless you. Questions on this here? Let's look at the next one. Name the inscribed angle between DC and CB. So DC is here. CB is here. So we can say what? Angle DCB or BCD, or, yeah, since there's only one angle there, we can use angle C. Because there's only one angle there, unlike the other one that actually had three. Because ABD, DBA, DBC, CBD. Because there's two angles there. Well, we have 1, 2, three of them put together.
Oh.
Well, how do you understand that?
So how does that one, how can that one be GC but the other one not?
How many angles are at that point?
2.
So this here, yes? Is there any other angle there?
Oh, so it's like, since the B lined up with the B on the two triangles, okay.
This is an angle at B, yes?
Yeah.
Is this an angle at B?
Okay, that's what I was.
And,
That's what I,
Yeah. Okay.
yep,
I was.
there's too many angles. Questions on this here? How about the inscribed angle between DC and AD? ADC or CD. Questions on this here? We ready to look at the next one? AB and AD.
That one can be
It can be A, yes. Or mhm. Questions on these here? So we're going to look at this one just for a second longer. When we look at this here, what is the shared letter in these two lines? So A is in both, yes? So if I put those together, BA, is that the angle? Or DA, because they make up, they're put together on top of the one that they share, and this makes the angle, DAB, BAD. So we didn't necessarily need to draw it if we notice that this is going to be the middle, the vertex. These are our two sides, and it works that way every single time. Because if we look at the others, the shared one is, so it'll be in the center, so ADC or CD.
Oh,
Okay. The next part, guys. So, state if the two triangles are congruent. If they are, state how. So I added letters to it. Go on, I would do the same. So go on and put those in. Because when we state how, we're going to give information. So so the letters A, B, C, D aren't on your page. You need to go on and add those in. So, how many different shortcuts do we have for saying that two triangles are congruent? Because we have side, angle, side. So if two triangles have two sets of congruent sides with an inscribed angle, one angle in the middle, then we can say the two triangles are congruent. So looking at this here, what do we have that is congruent? Well, we have, so AC is congruent to BD. So, guys, so we have a set of sides that are congruent, yes? Do we have any angles that are congruent?
Yes, B and C.
So these two right angles, yes? Can we call it B and C? No, because how many angles do we have at vertex B and C? So ACB is congruent to CBD. ACB and then CBD or DBC. So we have these two angles, yes? So we have a side, we have an angle, we have a side and angle, yes? Do we have any other sides that are congruent? guys, we do have a third set of sides because BC is congruent to, so we have a set of sides, or a side angle and a side. We have the same side, same angle, and side. So can we say that these two triangles are congruent? By side, angle, side. At this point, yes. I mean, because the two triangles are congruent, we can now say that these are congruent. But we aren't told directly from the picture. Questions on this here? Let's look at the next one. So let's see what we have. Well, we have that AC is congruent to BD. So we have a set of sides that are congruent, yes? Now, we need a set of angles and a set of sides that follow in the correct order. So, well, we have that these two angles are congruent, yes?
They are. But that line is like lower than the other.
It's fine,
It's fine. So,
because it's just the numbers.
I thought that mattered because I was like,
That was great.
Because again, it's only the number, because they distanced them apart so that they didn't line up, so it looked like one continuous arc. So these two are congruent. And then our last side is going to be what? Now, side angle side, the order does matter. So we have our side. We have our side. Then we have our angle here. And our side, yes?
what did you say CB is
CB
congruent to?
and CB, it's the same.
Oh,
It's congruent to itself.
You have to have the
Yes. There we go.
that was that. I was gonna say that.
So we have for the top triangle, we have the side, we have the angle on the side, yes? For the bottom triangle, we have the side. Well, put it in the correct color. Because here, side, we have our side, and then we have our angle. So here it's side, side, angle. Here it's side, angle, side. Do those match up? So are these congruent? Because they have to match up. One is side, side, angle. The other is side, angle, side. The way that they go is going to match up to the lettering. So here we have side, angle, side. Here we have side, side, angle. Because here side, angle, side. Here we have angle, side, side. We can't skip a side and an angle.
What about?
We have to have a side or an angle each way we go. So if I try to start here and go the other direction, I don't have an angle, I don't have a side. I can't go this direction. Side, side, angle. I have to have a side or an angle. I can't skip both. Questions on the... So the one before was yes. Because if we look back at this here, guys, focus up here. Because here, our first set of sides were right here. They were followed by the angle, and then our side, side, angle, side, side, angle, side. They matched up, so they're congruent. Here, they don't. They don't have side, angle, side. The bottom one is side-side angle. Questions on this here? Let's look at the next one. So when we look at this one here, we have a set of sides that are congruent. We can say that AB is congruent to BD. We have a set of sides. Do we have another set of sides that are congruent? Because it's congruent to itself. Anytime that the triangles are on top of each other, they share a line, they're going to be congruent to themselves. So we do have two sides that are congruent. Do we have any angles that are congruent? So we have angle ABC is congruent to DBC or CBD. Is the angle between our two congruent sides?
Yes.
So can we say that they're congruent?
Yes.
And again, when we have these, we need to make sure that they line up. Now, for side angle side, it works out as long as that angle's between them, we're good. Side, angle, side, side, angle, side, and they do line up. So this is yes. Questions on this here? We good with this here? So this one here, we need to determine whether we can say that these two triangles are congruent. Do we have two sets of congruent sides? Do we have an included angle?
Yeah, no, they don't.
So this one here, angle B is between the two sides, yes? Is the congruent angle, so the current angle is D, is it between the two sides? So here we do have a side and angle and a side angle side. Here we have an angle. They don't match up. Because if they were to match up, they'd either need to both be SAS or SSA. Either one, we would need them to be the same. So which angle would we have needed? E, because we need it to be the angle between the two sides. Questions on this here? If the two triangles are congruent, state if they are. If they are, state how we know. Now, when we look at this here, do we have two sets of congruent sides?
Yeah.
Because we have AB and what's the other, guys? What's the other set of congruent sides? CB, which is congruent to itself, yes? Is the angle between the two congruent sides?
Yes.
Because this angle here is between our two. This one here is between our two. So we can say what? AB is congruent to CD. We can say that angle ABC is congruent to angle DCB because we have our side, our angle, and then our other side is CB is congruent to CB. So can we say they're congruent? Because we have our side, our angle, our side. For the other one, we have our side, our angle, and our side. It is side, angle, side for both, and they match up. Questions on this here? We're ready for the next one. State what additional information we need. So guys, so looking at this here, we have that HI is congruent to IG, yes? Well, that's our side. We need an angle and a side also, yes? Now it's stated what additional information. So there's only one more piece of information that we need. So we do have two angles here, yes? We know that they are congruent. It changed colors, I don't know. Because of vertical angles. Because we have two lines that cross, yes? And the angles opposite them are
So
congruent.
JE is congruent to JP.
So angle HIJ
Oh,
is congruent to EIG because of vertical angles. Vertical angles, when you have two pairs of opposite rays, they form vertical angles.
So then we're missing the other side.
Yes.
what's that quiet?
Because whenever we have two triangles, especially for this chapter, that are sharing a side or sharing a point, vertical angles or the same line are going to show up. So these two are congruent because of vertical angles. Yeah, because if they share this point, two lines cross, we're going to have vertical angles. So JI is congruent to, so what additional piece of information did we need? JI is congruent to I. Because that's what it's asking. What additional piece of information do we need to be able to say that the two triangles are congruent by side angle side? Yes? Question? Does that make sense? So we were missing one piece of information. We did the first half to see what did we have already, to see what we needed. Yeah, side angle, side angle. Essentially, it's doing what we were doing, but we're missing one piece. Essentially what we've been doing, but we're just missing one piece to finish it out.
But if it's not like vertex or whatever, then it's not.
Civic?
I know.
Honda? Huh? Mm-hmm. So, guys, looking at this here. So looking at this one here is a little bit easier to see. So we still want to say that these two are congruent by side angle side. And we need one piece of information. To state what additional piece of information we need to be able to say that the two triangles are congruent by side angle side. We need an angle, guys. So we know that these two sides are congruent, yes? And we know that these two sides are congruent. So what are we missing? Angle. Because for side angle side, the angle needs to be between the two congruent sides. So this one here, we need that these two here, because once we have it, then we can say the two are congruent. Guys? Yes, but here, state what additional information is required in order to know the triangles are congruent by the given reason. What extra piece of information do we need to be able to finish this statement out? Yep. So let's look at this one here. So we're told that these two triangles are congruent. What additional piece of information do we need to be able to say that they are by side angle side? So guys, so we have that X, Y, and WU are congruent. We also have that angle X and angle U are congruent. So we're missing a set of sides, yes? Now it needs to be side angle side. So the other side that we need are, so WU is congruent to XZ or ZX. We can have it in either order. Questions on this here? Three through 14. Three through 14. We are. All right, guys. Are there any questions on any of this here? So, your assignment is on page 225, 3 through 14, all.